Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we go to Dover Raceway, just in the Cup Series. The Xfinity Series goes here in the next episode. So just a Cup race today. There you see the standings currently coming into this race. We have 3 playoff points coming into Dover. This race we won last season. Actually, this was our first win of the season. We had a little bit of luck involved, so hopefully maybe we can pull it off again today. But as we came to qualifying, we made it to the third and final round of the qualifying event now as we came down the back straightaway, currently with a 22.724 as we went down into turns 3 and turns 4, trying my best to get a better lap in as we exited turn 4. Coming down the front straightaway though, as we came across the line, we improved to a 22.694, and I would call it there, and we will start P3 for Dover International Speedway. So let's see what we can do.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series rolls into Dover, Delaware for the running of the AAA 400 Drive for Autism. Dover International Speedway, also known as the Monster Mile, is a track with banking so high, drivers often call it a roller coaster ride. In 2017, Jimmy Johnson rode this roller coaster to his 11th checkered flag, extending his own track record for wins. He is clearly not intimidated by Miles the Monster. Can the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet do it again? Let's go trackside for the start of the race.
Alright, we are ready to go green here in Dover International Speedway. Ty Dillon is prepared well for this race. Apparently their team's practice is paying off. Michael McDowell is apparently really fast today as well. And those are your only notes. No one sent to the back today for this race. Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson on the front row there. So we get ready to go green from this third position behind the 9 of Elliott. And the green flag is out. We are underway here in Dover now as we give a shot to the bumper for Chase Elliott now as we come across the line to start this race. Jimmy Johnson on my outside line to start here in that 4th position. And as we come through turns 1 and 2, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson is able to stay on my outside as Elliott is clear of Larson for the lead. Down the back straightaways, we battle side by side with Jimmy Johnson, who's won many races at this track. I believe he's up to like 8 or 9 wins at this racetrack by now. As we exit turn 4, though, we clear the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, who's had a slightly slow start to this season as he looks to rebound here in Dover now as we head down into turns 1 and 2, closing in on the back of our former teammate of Kyle Larson. And usually it's pretty hard to pass at this track as the AI are just fully committed usually to running this bottom line. Right here, Larson leaves a little bit of a hole, but he closes it and doesn't allow me to fill that gap that he left open to take the position. And we kind of got stuck behind him for the next handful or so laps now as we went down into turns 1, just not really able to find a way to the inside of this 42, just barely getting into the back one there as he was just protecting that bottom line just enough to where I couldn't pass him. By the time we came to lap 5, still in that same position, right behind the 42 of Larson, and obviously this is allowing the 9 of Chase Elliott to sneak away from the pack, and he's looking in great shape here as he won the race in real life last season. Now as we look to the inside of Larson, finally though, we try to take the position on his inside through turns 1 and turns 2, but as he comes out of turn 2, he's going to keep up the fight on my outside as Larson isn't going to go down easily now. As we look down to his inside again into turns 3 and turns 4, he has just barely got the edge over me now as we come through on the exit of the corner, approaching lap 16 at this point in this fight with Larson still on his inside going into turns 1 as Elliott at this point has driven way far away. He's certainly pretty much going to win this stage if it stays green now as we come out of turn 2, still side by side with the 42 of Kyle Larson, but finally at the end of lap 16 going on to 17, we had the edge on him going into turns 1, and we would finally be able to pull ahead of Kyle Larson through the center of the corner and clear him on the exit of turn 2 down the back straightaway. And by the time we came to lap 18, already starting to stretch the gap out between myself and Larson, so we certainly had more speed than the 42. It's just it was all about getting past him, but unfortunately at this point it looked like it might be a little bit hard to catch a 9, but by the time we came to just 6 to go, he caught lap traffic and he was stuck behind the AI for a good amount of time. And this was allowing me to close the gap as Elliott wasn't trying to pass the lap cars. As we came to lap 26 though, he moved up to the outside as we caught the lap traffic, so that would help Elliott start to pull away as obviously we jump up to the outside straight away, passing this whole train of lap traffic led by Haley Deegan as we come through turns 3 and turns 4 as we exit the corner to hit just 3 to go in the stage, trying to close in on Elliott now as we continue to run on that outside line, passing Parker Kligerman through turns 1 and 2. Now looking to the outside of Haley Deegan as we exit the corner down the front back straightaway, as now our teammate or former teammate Kyle Larson is actually closing the gap to me now as we approach 2 to go in this stage. And Chase Elliott continuing to drive away as he certainly has a fast car from what it looks like in this race so far now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. A 1.2 second gap between myself and the 9 of Chase Elliott now as we come down the back straightaway, approaching the white flag in this first stage. Elliott closes in on another lapped car, and that might hold him up a little bit if he doesn't make a move, and it does not look like he is going to make a move as we come down the front straightaway to hit the white flag in the first stage. We're certainly closing in on the 9 of Elliott here on this final lap in stage 1 as he is stuck behind that car, and as we exit turn 2 down the back straightaway, we're certainly closing quick, but it's not going to be enough time as we head down towards turns 3 for the final time in stage 1. It is Ryan Priest that's just in front of Elliott now as we come through the corners for the final time on the exit of turn 4. The stage 1 winner will be Chase Elliott as we come just short in P2 in the stage, which is nothing to be disappointed with. We certainly have a quick car, but maybe not quick enough to win this race. We're going to need some luck, I think, just like we did last season. And we would come to pit road, obviously, take 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and keep the adjustments the same. I felt like the car was at least really good, and I didn't want to mess with it, and we would come out in that second position alongside the 9 of Chase Elliott to start the second stage. The green flag is out. Stage 2 is underway here in Dover. Harvick on my back bumper as my teammate. He's the only Stewart-Haas racing car with a win this season, and we want to change that now as we head down into turns 1 and 2. The outside of Dover, certainly not a very good line to start in, as Elliott easily clears me on the exit of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Now as our former teammate Kyle Larson looks to my inside now as we head down towards turns 3, and his teammate Kurt Busch is going to follow through as well as he gets to my inside on the exit of turn 4 down the front straightaway now to complete this first lap in the stage as me and Kurt Busch battle side by side down into turns 1 and 2, and move up the track a little bit as we made just a tiny bit of contact with the 1 of Kurt Busch, and that would allow my teammate of Kevin Harvick to clear me down the back straightaway, but we would immediately look to his inside going down into turns 3 as we don't want to get pushed too far back as we come through the center of the corner on the exit of turn 4, just about clearing the 4 now as we head across the line with 25 to go in the second stage, and we do clear the 4 of Harvick now going into turns 1, so we move back into that 4th position and set our sights on the 1 of Kurt Busch now, and by the time we came to lap 4 we did run them down, but once again in that same situation as earlier now as we get onto the apron going into turns 1 and 2, but that was certainly not what we needed. As I was about to say, we just couldn't pass the 1 of Kurt Busch, but we would hit the apron, and that was a huge setback for me as we'd fall back to P5 behind the 4 of Harvick. But we would run down Harvick once again and get to his inside by the time we came to lap 15 in the stage, and we would easily pass the 4 of Harvick and once again set our sights on the 1 of Kurt Busch, and hopefully this time we can get to him and pass him without hitting the apron and losing a bunch of time. Obviously, stage 2 not looking very great for myself as we come out of turn 4 now down the front straightaway, closing in even more on the back of the 1 and the 42 of Busch and Larson, and by the time we came to lap 17 still stuck behind these guys, kind of like I expected now as we came out of turn 4, just kind of trying to find a spot to go, but we just can't get the run on the exit of the corner, and that's really what we need. Is we need a big exit of the corner momentum, and we just haven't been able to get that now as we come out of turn 2 behind Kurt Busch, just continuing to ride in front of me, and we would actually lose a little bit of time by the time we came to 3 to go. But the leader, Chase Elliott, he was once again stuck in that lap traffic train, but this time he wasn't even trying the outside line, allowing Larson, Kurt Busch, myself, and Kevin Harvick to start to close in on him as we approach 2 to go in stage 2. Elliott trying to at least sweep the first 2 stages now as we come down the front straightaway. 2 laps remain, and it's not going to matter as the stage ends early due to a caution, so Chase Elliott wins the stage anyways. I'm not sure what caused the caution, but I'm assuming some type of wreck or maybe a blown engine or something, but we would get ready to go green. Once again, we pitted for 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, and the AI took the same, thankfully, as we get ready to start this final stage now in Dover, and the green flag is out. We are underway for the final stage in Dover behind the 42 of Kyle Larson, who's still looking for his first win in the career mode since we've started now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. Kurt Busch on my inside, and he and Elliott are in a big advantage over myself and Kyle Larson as Harvick gets ahead of me as well, but we battle side by side with him going into turns 3 as Joey Logano's trying to look to my inside as we go through the center of the corner. And as we come out of turn 4, Logano continuing to look to my inside, but we have the momentum on the exit of the corner down the front straightaway. We clear Joey Logano going into turns 1, and we look to the inside of Kyle Larson, who's had a bad restart as well, as we come through the corner on the exit of turn 2, clearing the 42 of that Chip Ganassi Racing driver. Now as we head down into turns 3, behind Kevin Harvick, and through the center of the corner as Chase Elliott continues to lead this race over second place now of Kurt Busch, as now we try to look to the outside maybe of Kevin Harvick, but obviously we're going to just fall back in line going into turns 1 and turns 2 now, as we just try to kind of wait for a hole to open up to on the inside of Kevin Harvick. That's really our best chance as we come to lap 65, just 36 to go in the stage, still riding behind these guys, just not really having an opportunity to pass anyone at this moment. But it certainly seems like the top 4 cars here, all of us have a good amount of speed, but I think Chase Elliott in the long run might be the car that is the fastest now, as we're probably going to fall off quite a bit on this long run now, as we tried to look to the inside of Harvick, but not enough momentum to get to his inside with just 35 laps to go at this point in the race now, as we approach his bumper again, but not able to make anything happen by the time we came to lap 68, getting onto the apron a little bit and coming out of turn 4, putting a gap between myself and the front 3 with just 32 to go as we head down into turns 1 and turns 2 now through the center of the corner, closing in as there's a car stopped on the bottom, as we have a huge avoidance as we just about plowed into the back of Brendan Gaughan, as I didn't even notice him until the last second, and I just turned the steering wheel to the right and then cranked it back left, hoping I wasn't going to die into the wall, and that completely screwed all of us up, as now Elliott drove away and I was a ways behind anyone else. So this certainly was a big hit to our race. Now just 30 to go, and that was certainly not what we needed, but we are very fortunate to even be in this race still, as that certainly could have went very bad very quickly, as we would get a caution and this would certainly close things up now. And I decided to take half a can of fuel on this pit stop and no tires, because I figured that's what the AI would do, and I was correct. They would do the same thing, so we would get ready to restart once again from that 4th position. Now as the green flag is out, we are underway for possibly the final time here in Dover, now behind the one of Kurt Busch, who tries to steal the victory here from Chase Elliott in Dover, who has had a dominant race for himself. Kurt Busch already has a win this season. Chase Elliott only has 1 win in this career mode so far. Now as we come down the back straightaway, clearing the 42 of Larson, so I'm going to kind of cut him off there, because this inside line is so important and so OP compared to the outside line that I had to kind of chop the 42's nose. And on the exit of the corner, we look to the inside of Kurt Busch across the line, trying to take that 3rd position away as we come through turns 1 and turns 2, sliding up the track just a little bit, but it doesn't matter now as we come out of turn 2, still side by side with the one of Kurt Busch, as he's not going to give up easily, but we will clear him going into turns 3 and now officially have this 3rd position, as Elliott and Harvick up ahead in that 1st and 2nd position tried to drive away, but we're going to do our best to run them down with 25 to go. And I was a little concerned that the tires were going to fall off late in this race, so I was on full attack mode. If I get an opportunity to pass these guys on the inside, I'm going to have to take it, but it's certainly going to be very hard no matter what to get that opportunity to pass one of these guys on that inside line, as the AI are so defensive of that bottom line at this racetrack. Now as we come down the front straightaway, immediately closing the gap a little bit on them with 19 to go on lap 82, though we were just having a little bit of a tough time staying with them, as they were just very, very slowly creating better pace than I was. At this point, we could at least stick with them for the most part now as we come through turns 3 and turns 4. We have all run away from the cars behind us now, as no one was even close to us as we came out of turn 4. And by the time we came to just over 10 laps to go, we were losing a lot of time to the front 2 drivers, as I just didn't have the tires to stick with them. So at this point, I was pretty much just hoping that we would get a caution, as they were just continuing to drive away. Both Elliott and Harvick were, and the cars behind me were actually starting to close a bit. So certainly the tires were falling off, and it was unfortunate now as we hit 10 to go in this race, as we went down into turns 1 and turns 2, doing what I could to close in on them, but it just wasn't enough. And I tried different things here and there, but it just wasn't working. By the time we came to lap 92, Ryan Newman going into turn 1 blows the right front tire, and hard into the wall he goes. A huge hit to the outside wall as he went from the bottom of the track to the outside immediately. No caution is thrown, and we would stay green and we would keep rolling down into turns 3. No caution, like I said, which was very surprising. Obviously, I didn't even know of this incident until I looked into the replays. It certainly was surprising that he had a hit like that and no caution even came out, as he completely destroyed the car of his. The front end was just dead, but by the time we came to lap 97, Chase Elliott had jumped up to the outside and passed the lap traffic, but Kevin Harvick didn't. He was stuck behind this train of the lap cars, and this would allow me to close in on him as we hit 3 laps to go in this race now as we go down into turns 1 and 2. And we close in on the outside of the 4 of Harvick, our teammate. We look to his outside now as we come out of turn 2, down the back straightaway away, approaching 2 laps to go here in Dover as Harvick. He refuses to move up to this top line, and obviously that is a huge advantage to myself as we take over that second position. We finished second a couple episodes back, and it looks like, unfortunately, we might do that again here in Dover now as we head down into turns 1 and turns 2 side by side with the 71 now of Ryan Truex as we exit turn 2, approaching the right-hand side of Hailie Deegan, who's going to kind of block me as we get into the back of her now as we go down towards turns 3 and turns 4. Hailie Deegan running in that 36th position as we exit turn 4. Chase Elliott has taken the white flag as he looks to lock himself into the playoffs, and he has been struggling in this career mode a lot, but now that we switched over to this 2019 DOC, it certainly seemed to be a lot stronger now as we come out of turn 2, down the back straightaway for the final time. Chase Elliott, 1 career win so far in our career mode as he looks to make it 2 today as we come through turns 3 and turns 4. We are going to come up a little bit short once again in second, but Chase Elliott wins career race number 2 in our career mode as we would come across the line, like I said, to get P2, our teammate Kevin Harvick 3rd, and the 2 Ganassi cars 4th and 5th, and then Jamie McMurray, the other Ganassi car, somewhere. But 40th place goes to Brendan Gaughan, 34 laps down as he DNF'd, blowing an engine right in front of us. I'm not sure still how I managed to avoid that. And Ryan Newman with that huge hit with just about 8 or so or 9 laps to go, and I was very surprised it wasn't a caution because that's one of the hardest hits I've seen taken in this game for sure now that I've played throughout the career mode, and we have some drivers that are actually happy with us, Ryan Preece and Alex Bowman, so that's always good for myself. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be incredibly appreciated. Next episode, we will be going to Dover in the Xfinity Series, and we will be going to Kansas in the Cup Series, which is a track I kind of have a love-hate relationship with. So we will see what we can do in the next episode there. You see the playoff standings. Elliott now locked in. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day. See you in the next one.